Send us your music video and we will certainly feature it. Remember, Cover Me, sponsored by Burger King. Well, let's go back into the KUM News Zoom room now, my friends, because we have three friends of mine right now that would like to share their passion and their gift for the ancient art of slingstoning. And who better to talk about this tradition that is so tied into who we are as our people than Roman Dela Cruz, who has got a ton of gear this morning. Rom, good morning, bro. Good to see you as always. Oops, unmute. Yeah, you guys can unmute your mics. You guys are all cool. There we are. Good morning, Rom.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Off today, man. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Stoked for for the microphone on the activities that we have moving towards the official 500 date.
Very nice. And also joining us in the Zoom room right now, we have Peter Tovers. Peter, good morning. Buenas.
Morning.
All right, and where are you joining us from, Peter?
Coming up from Japan.
Oh, very nice. Oh man, good morning there today. Good breeze coming off the sea down there.
Yes,
Very
nice
good.
and bright.
And then we also have Josiah Perez, who is joining us now, another slingstone enthusiast. Josiah, what village are you from, man?
Dedido.
Yeah, all right, just right up the street from us. Very cool. I was born and raised in Dedido, Ipapawa Estates, man. Good to meet a fellow Dedido resident.
Let's start with Roman and the event, because you sent me a video last night and you guys were actually practicing for a ceremony for something that's going to be happening tomorrow afternoon, right?
Yes, we're just getting together. You know, a big part of the vision, a big part of the culminating efforts over the years have been towards building, showcasing slinging and reigniting slinging for this big 500-year anniversary. So though the official commemorative date will be on Saturday, we wanted to bid a friendly farewell and safe voyage to the Elcano, who would be visiting and stoked enough to pass by Guam. Mm-hmm. So I think it's been important for us, is even though that slingstones before were used against the Spanish during war for self-defense, it's important for us right now that we help not just them understand, but most importantly, our people understand, and even eventually the world understand that though maybe we might have had negative things that happened in the history, the worst thing that we can happen is to avoid gaining something positive from it. So over the years, are squeezing some positivity out of it. You know what I mean? Because if we allow ourselves to maintain the negativity, then we're just, then those wounds will never heal, So we found a way to graduate our mindset behind that, and we've transformed these, slingstones of war, and now we're trying to activate them in another way to defend the people, and that's moving towards peace.
And so tomorrow, is that when the throwing away party is?
Yes, tomorrow. Well, we had received word that the Elcano's closest point of approach was going to be at 6 p.m. at Umatic Bay, and that's a big popular place for us for stone slinging, because it's the most abundant source of supply of stones and something that you can never overly exhaust. So we've been assembling there right now. A big part of what we want to do is get as many people slinging stones for the 500-year anniversary. That includes everybody, not just from Guam, but Saipan, Tinian, all throughout the Marianas, all the way towards Pagan, if possible. And quite importantly, significantly, is for Chamorros around the world. So I think the assembling of all the stone slingers in the island, if we can, it's an invitation to all stone slingers, of course. Come masked up, come, let's be responsible about it. And if we can get an assembly, and it'd just be great for Chamorros and everybody else around the world.
Right. And I think the one you got to watch out for, though, is Josiah, because Josiah's got an arm on him. Mm-hmm. Award-winning slinger, man, there.
He's older now, and he's doing some really, really freestyle stuff. It's really impressive. So, can't wait to see what he has in store for tomorrow.
Don't try and hurt anybody, Josiah.
Can we nickname you the Dedito Cannon? Good.
He said yes.
And yeah, and Josiah, do you sling with your right arm or are you a lefty?
Right arm.
Right arm. Okay, right on. Right arm, right on. And how long have you been practicing this art? And the one thing that amazed me is, when Sabrina and I and some of my colleagues here at KOM, we went down to Umatic Bay last year, and you guys welcomed us, so warmly, and, you shared, the techniques that you have. And the thing that's always blown me away about people who throw sling stones is, I always knew that if you practice at something over time, you'll get better at it and you'll get more and more accurate. But, they have those big targets and there's those big plywoods and the 2x4s that you guys throw at and everything. It wasn't just the people who were consistently hitting the wood. They were nailing the bullseye every single time, and I was just blown away. So how long has it taken you to work on this, to be that accurate and to be that good?
I think I practiced when I was 5. So now I'm 10, so it took me 5 years.
Wow, you've been slinging for half your life. That's impressive, dude. What does it mean to you, and what do people say when they come up to you, whether they're classmates of yours, your family, like your peers, or even like some older people or people that aren't from Guam, and they say, "Wow, you're really, really good. Can you teach me to do that?"
They would say can you teach me how to do a trick?
Okay, what is your best trick?
I forget what it's called. It's where I spin, I jump up, turn around, make it go under, and then I toss it.
Oh, wow. That's impressive. That's also pretty dangerous. All right, so let's go to Peter over in EPAND. Peter, what is your responsibility going to be in tomorrow's celebration? Let's go. I love the word that Rome used when he said we have graduated our mindset, over the years to be able to, take something that was a form of combat, and we're also doing it to advance our people, but we're also doing it to teach the new generations and and honor our ancestors' traditions and everything. So how will you be honoring these traditions?
Yeah, so the word, you just said the word teach. So I'm a teacher at Jose Regis Middle School. And, Rome has always been the fire starter, so to speak. And when it started out, I think 2018, the Chamorro teachers approached me and said, how can we introduce the slinging into the Chamorro studies? So I took the lead and we started with the Chamorro students, and then it just blossomed into the whole school. Mm-hmm. So I teach it through the school side. Mm-hmm. Weaving, throwing, targeting, respecting, like Rome said earlier too, we can't use it in a negative way. And that was kind of like the number one rule. Mm-hmm. If you get in trouble somewhat through the school and or using the sling the wrong way, we kick you out, because it's about resurrecting the culture, bringing it back. And with Josiah, there's even younger slingers, and then opposite of that, there's older ones as well. But I do from the school side. That's where I come from.
So Peter, as a teacher of our culture and our heritage, it's your responsibility to not only say, this is a form of exercise. It's, as Rome said, it's got a lot of cultural significance. But when you're imparting exactly what this art means to our people and everything, like how do you approach that to people, and what do people basically, how do they embrace those lessons? Like, what does it mean to them when you finally say, this is exactly what it is and this is what it means to us?
Right. So, I'm so glad the Chamorro teachers approached me in this manner. So what they do, before we introduce this, we do the blessing, the Chamorro song. Mm-hmm. So right then and there, they realize that this is, it's not negative, it's positive. So from there, they take it, we teach them, and then I consistently respect. Let's resurrect the culture, all respect. And they get it, the kids get it, they pass it on. They teach each other, don't do this, don't do that. Wait, safety is another factor. Like you said, rocks, we start with tennis balls, we go to rocks, I use golf balls. And then their parents would come up to me during PTC and say, hey sir, can I get a sling? Because their kids are teaching their parents now. So it's started out with one little fire by Roman and Guelo, and then now it's just spreading across the island.
Roman, I want to say it was about a year ago. I think you were talking about, you know, this 500-year commemoration when I went down to Paseo and I got a lesson on a slingstone. You know, you sent me the video of the Escalon when it was coming in. What was that? What was that feeling for you to see it firsthand? Because a lot of people didn't get to see it so close and personal out in the ocean, and you know, you and I think Tasa were out there.
Is that for me?
Yeah, Rome. That's for
Oh,
you.
for me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How did I feel about that, boy? You know, I ended up missing the boat on Tasa because I have terrible eyes and I read the message wrong. So what I had to do is I was in Agani. I drove down to Tuman and I had seen them out in Fujita Road, over the reef in Fujita Road. So I immediately grabbed my paddleboard and I tried to chase him out into the ocean. So I was able to chase him pretty close, but I probably could have been about 10 minutes faster. But it did feel incredible because, you know, my expectation is I wanted to be really close and right up front and feel it and feel all that energy and everything. But paddling over the reef, finding a way to chase a boat helped me to understand that besides the flying pros and the sackmans and everything like that, as a water people, it helped me to understand that there were all kinds of crafts. So I was able to dial into that sensation and it felt kind of cool to be away from there's a point when you're paddling around Oka Point where you can't see anything else. You know, it looks completely Jurassic, quite Jurassic. So being out there and then watching the sackmans come across the boat, seeing the boat turn around and do all of that, it really helped me to feel, man, like the gravity of if you would imagine what the 500 sails had looked like not in 1521, but I think years after, but how 500 sackmans or pros would have looked over the reef, you would see this vast, ridiculous expanse of seafarers, and you know, just to be out there and to feel that helped me to reflect back to old drawings where they show stand-up. There are several old drawings where they show stand-up paddleboarders among the ancient Chamorros, and that's pretty impressive because though stand-up paddling has been around, it was like in the late 1980s where the long paddle was kind of really, that was the one that really changed it opened up stand-up paddling to more people. And to see that our ancestors had that figured out in the 1600s, the 1500s, or whatever, really helped me understand why there are so many Chamorros that are so drawn deeply to the water. So, I mean, outside of what it does for slinging, I mean, where slinging brings you, and then understanding, having the ability to converse with a lot of these master navigators from the outer islands through Tasa, you know, it helps me understand that slinging was a big part of the seafaring culture as well. Right. So now to see this resurgence in slinging and to see this resurgence in seafaring and to understand that even just with interest and support that we can all be a part of it. We don't have to be the best slingers. We don't have to be the ultimate seafarers, but as long as we draw our attention towards it and we help steer people towards that path, then I think that's a really good way to serve the ancestors, because with the seafaring, they're the first people. The seafarers are the first people that arrived on our land, and the slingers were the people who were, whatever time they came in, they were the ultimate people that defended it. So these are two very powerful tools that we could still steer into our community, especially having this whole COVID situation kind of wipe the slate clean on how we do things. You know, it's a good way to look at this 500 years and to observe it more from admiring our culture, not for something, things of our culture, not for something that we could just put on a shelf that will look nice, but like the sling, like the seafaring, like the weaving, like the dancing, whatever, the chanting, if we can put these things into our hands and actually help us steer forward, you know, it's really, it helps. It helps, and we could all use help.
Yeah, Rome, you know what's really cool is there was a picture I saw where it was the Spanish ship, and then there was a couple segments, and but just seeing that image for me, 500 years later, it really gets you, man. It gets you right here,
It
They're on the
does.
field.
And I just seeing in social media, I'm seeing, and I was one of these guys who was like, why are we even, rolling out the red carpet for the Spanish? Because, I can hold a grudge like that. But so, and I even saw some people on Twitter saying like they wanted to sling at this just to be like, yeah, hey, we didn't forget.
And you know what? And that is completely understandable. And I understand that. And I have a lot of friends that are activists. And I think maybe in our way, a lot of our slingers are activists as well. But you know that it's organic like that, because ultimately everybody's feeling their way, because maybe, like for those that might be a little bit excited or maybe welcoming or hospitable for the traveling vessel, it's like, I don't think that the Spanish back in the day, and you have to forgive me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think it was really the Spanish that were necessarily the enemy. I think it was a mindset of colonization that was the enemy. I think a forceful colonization. So I think that's really, now regardless of how we might feel, we also have to accept that there is a possibility that there was great friendships between, not just because there wasn't just pure Spanish that were coming on these vessels that were coming through Guam. It's an international mix, and it wasn't only just pure Chamorros that I think were here. As a Sea Frank people, we had a vast mix of people, so of course we want to stay loyal to the land and stay loyal to the people, but I think staying loyal to the people for the past, the present, and the future is elevating our minds and trying to come to help ourselves steer towards a mindset of the pursuit of peace that preceded the colonizers.
Right,
that is, I think, how we can.
He's muted.
He muted himself. We lost you at colonizer. That's how you should say it during Mestre Moro, Rome.
There he is.
But yeah, man, I just watched Moana, man. So that's where that's the song I get ignited like that.
Did you ever watch Moana Blown?
I know it's great, and I understand. So what position do we want to take?
Yeah.
Against but there's so much more to be said. I don't think that we wrap that up in the short timeline that we have. But I would like to show you guys this, and it's this. This is a book here. It's an ancient book from the Balearic Islands, and it's a book on slingstones, on their slingstones. So when you look at the believe it or not, it got wet in my car.
I believe it. Yeah.
But anyways, that happens. But slingstones were prominent enough and important enough in their culture where they would make books about it, publications about it, and to understand that halfway across the world, in the Mariana Islands, we have a slinging history at least just as deep as these guys, and to have that common ground, to have that kind of, that's some things we want to focus on. When Walu and I and the Josiah and Brandy and Shimmy from Ireland, when we all went to Ireland, I'll tell you, when we went to the Balearic Islands, and the expectation was kind of like, of course, slinging stones, there's a little bit of a, there's kind of like a little bit of an angry Chamorro that's kind of resting in you, and I'll rewind it a little bit further back when Walu and I had first went out to the Balearic Islands, to Mallorca for the first year of competition in 2017. We had assembled gifts of ancient artifact slingstones that people had brought with us, and in the case, if the case ever arose, we wanted to sling it in the proper places, of course, never to hurt anybody, but hey, man, I think a lot of what motivated us in in slinging, there was a lot of that fire of that angry, of vengeance and of whatever, there was a part of that needed to set the fire to this ignition. But now, I think after just enjoying so many good, positive friendships with our friends at the Balearic Islands, local Spaniards here, understanding the relationships, and it said, hey, man, you know what? This time to be drawing lines to divide. This time of dividing people is not really I don't think it's going to help us anything right now because the world has enough problems to deal
Right.
with.
Yeah. You know when you talked about all the 500 sales and the 500 Goliaths, segments, proas, and you know what they call that, right?
Nothing.
That's called the Parmata.
True.
Right on.
Well, you know-
let me ask one question real quick because specifically for Peter and Josiah, right? As we are now beginning Mess Tomorrow, right? The time of the year when we celebrate who we are as a people. You know our ancestors. You know Josiah as a practitioner of this ancient sacred art and you know Senor Pedro as a teacher and making sure that these lessons are preserved. When our ancestors are watching you, and we all know they are, what would you like for them to think about how you are preserving Chamorro heritage and Chamorro history?
Want to start, Josiah?
I want them to think that we're doing a good thing, teaching other people from all around the world.
All right. Well, you're doing just that. That's a good job.
Well, you know, whether it's that time in Chamorro month or any day, just the fact that you're slinging, I could feel it. I could feel it that the ancestors are around and they're knowing that we're resurrecting something that started ever since, so to speak. So the feeling is there. The feeling is there, guaranteed. Anywhere you sling, at least for me, I feel it when my kids do it at school. I feel it when my kids do it at my house, the beach, the mountains, you name it. I feel it. The ancestors are present.
Thank you, Peter. Josiah, thank you. Rome, thanks, man.
Hey, thank you very much. And if anything, if there are any slingers, rockers, or whippersnappers out there that are interested in joining in this this send off and the safe voyage, please join us at Umatic Bay. Tomorrow we'll be there from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Bring some seeds if you can. You know, if the turnout gets too abundant, we'll be slinging seeds if we can't space safely. Okay. Thank you very much.
Rome, real
God
quickly,
bless you.
Saturday's event. At SKC?
Saturday's event we will be at the Saturday's event, March 6th marks the actual 500 date. So we will be, to commemorate that date, we will be at the Saugan Couture in Chamorro for their opening hours. That will also be their opening day, their reopening day after all this COVID. And we will be teaching, offering free sling lessons all day long. And we will also be having a story circle, or they will be having a story circle as well as a artifact sharing. So if you have any significant artifacts that you might want to share, you might want to talk about, please bring them by. There's a couple of us. There's a really good supply there. There's a tremendous amount of noteworthy artifacts that are already there in place with Johnny Cakes. And some of us want to bring in some other things that we want to talk about and just start, I think, celebrate. We're not going to celebrate Magellan or the explorers. Right now, what we're celebrating with the 500s, we want to focus our mindset is on celebrating the people that preceded them. That's really what's paramount. And if there's any commemoration, this isn't for us, even regardless of what the Elcano's mission is. For us, it's not Magellan arriving here. It's about our ancestors running into European explorers. Right. I think that's what's important. And so if we try to look at that through that perspective, thank you very much. The Marianas History Conference, that was excellent. Very freaking mind cultivating. But I think if we move from that perspective, that's why we're inviting everybody to join us with Otsu Marianas at the Saugan Couture in Chamorro. Join us that day. If you're interested in slinging, please come on by. We teach for free. Let's rock.
All right.
Okay, all
Thank
you
you.
whippersnappers out there.
Rockers.
Rockers.
Yeah.
Eh.
No, it's true if you want to say it, but
Right on.
you know.
Stay safe, guys.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Thank
That's
you very
that.
much.
Right
God
on.
bless.
Right.
There you go. Slings up.
Slings up.
10:04. Good job today, Jason. As always, man. This guy's a keeper.
Fun show, man.
Joe, sir, good job.